Well shit. Now that Star Wars is completely and utterly bereft of any and all originality, depth, and well, just plain fucking fun, all I can really do now is remember the good old days when we used to complain about how episodes 1 through 3 were nothing like episodes 4 through 6. How times have changed. At this point, I'd probably consider thumbtacking the chicken skin of my testicles to a desk if it presented an opportunity to replace the garbage we got. Shit, I'd even sew my dick hole shut for a trilogy that's even half as good as The Phantom Menace. Let's just be grateful that Disney has no control over Respawn Entertainment and their game development. Otherwise, out of sheer unoriginality and classic underwhelming Disney storytelling, they would most certainly write Cal as a Palpatine. When you can successfully tell a compelling story set in a time I no longer have an interest in due to the considerable bullshit we've seen that's been going on at this point in the Star Wars timeline, then I'd say you're doing something right. I'd much rather focus on a character that's trying to survive a Jedicide, and that's exactly what makes Cal Kestis' story a unique one. We get to see a story of what it would be like if a Jedi survived years after Order 66 was executed. We get to see what it's really like for a Jedi to go in hiding, not that bullshit they gave us for Obi-Wan. Cal's story is real, it's raw, it's compelling, it's deep, and it feels like Star Wars. A young man who was trained in the Force, yet due to events that were out of his control, lost his connection to the Force and everyone he loved around him. Set in a time where either all like him are dead or want to kill him, as he's hunted persistently by an order that only wants to exterminate what's left of him. That is an intriguing story. It's Star Wars. It's dark. It's deep. It's fantastical. It's stimulating. It's provocative. And it even has some naturally unforced comedy. Cal Kestis' journey, while it is new, it is a sacred one and it's something to be cherished. His journey is different from anything we've seen in the Star Wars universe thus far. Now, I'm not sure about you, my fellow consumer, but I fell in love with Star Wars as a child because of the fantastic story, vibrant, defined characters, and the fucking lightsabers. And I stayed in love with Star Wars as an adult because of the fantastic storytelling, vibrant, defined, deep, complex, three-dimensional characters, their upbringing, altruistic self-sacrifice, their journeys, obstacles, loss, growth, and the fucking lightsabers. However, it seems all of that was lost in translation during the purchase of the gargantuan IP from Lucasfilms to Disney. I mean, we all already know that Disney cares not for quality. 2 years ago, The Mandalorian was the best thing about Star Wars. It was hope for people like myself who had lost hope after seeing the Rey trilogy. The Mandalorian was a new direction and a new story to be told that was to invigorate the series all over again. For 2 seasons, the fantastic flagship series known as The Mandalorian was able to keep its chin above a franchise that's dead in the water. And now, not even The Mandalorian can help the situation with Star Wars, seeing as how Season 3 is part of the problem now. And the best thing about the beloved half-century-year-old franchise is a new spin-off IP less than 3 years old. The story of Cal Kestis is not only the best thing to come out of Star Wars right now, but it's the best thing to come out of Star Wars in a long motherfucking time. But like anything that's new and Star Wars related, it starts off on a high, but ultimately ends up coming to a catastrophic crash and burn, which is extremely disappointing for the fans, yet also confusing, considering Star Wars is Disney's most successful and renowned franchise, but the best thing about it isn't even developed by them. Let this just sit and marinate with you for a second. The best thing about a Disney product is something they had nothing to do with. If you don't agree with anything I'm saying right now, you will most certainly agree with this statement. Rogue One and Cal Kestis' journey were the only ones to remind us of how terrifying Darth Vader is. The feeling I felt when I saw Darth Vader mowing down those Republic soldiers in that corridor at the end of Rogue One was a feeling I will never forget. It is the true Darth Vader we know, fear, and respect. The same goes for Darth Vader's brief appearance in Jedi Fallen Order, the first Cal Kestis game. Millions of gamers around the world felt nothing but pure childhood joy in that moment. The video reactions of gamers watching Vader murder his own soldier are some of the most heartwarming reactions I've ever seen in Star Wars history. Putting aside the weird de-aging deep fake look, it's right up there with the appearance of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2. Star Wars fans are a different type of fans to Star Wars fans. Star Wars isn't just a fantasy we're fans of. Star Wars is a way of life, and just like in real life, when something goes awry, it gets our panties in a twist. It's no different in Star Wars when we see bad writing or terrible judgment, and we think,
I have a bad feeling about this.
So, seeing as how we're super fans, it may in fact get our panties in a twist. I wish I could say Disney inadvertently destroyed the real Star Wars, but with Kathleen Kennedy still steering the ship, it's all too obvious and clear that this is an attack from within, a kamikaze mission to attain retribution by exacting revenge on the very people that built the thing we love most, the big dogs that were in charge of the franchise we loved, and while we loved it, the people that gave her shit and pushed her around for the last 30 years. And in 2015, when she was finally given the chance, she's been retaliating in the only way she knows how, by destroying the very thing that built them, made their careers what they are today, and going a step further by alienating their fans. Fortunately for us, the joke's on her, since she's the only one alienating the fans to the saga that she's in charge of, because all those fans are going back to the originals and appreciating them for what they are, even episodes 1 through 3. If there was ever a master plan that horrifically backfired on someone, it's this. You know, I'd really love to know the first thought that crosses Kathleen Kennedy's mind every morning when she wakes up and opens her eyes on her plush pillow in California king-size bed. This entire video was dedicated to highlight Cal Kestis' journey and how wonderful it is, yet I haven't even mentioned Cameron Monaghan once. And while Cameron Monaghan is on a high right now as he carries part of the entire Star Wars franchise on his back alone, fear this, my fellow consumer, because it's only a matter of time until Disney and Kathleen get their subpar, generic, low-quality, grubby hands on this story and begin to twist and turn it into something far from what it is and what it was always meant to be in Respawn's eyes. There's a reason Respawn is telling a new story this second game around. They're telling one their way, and Disney will obviously make it all canon because they have no other original ideas for themselves. So they'll take Cal Kestis' story and make everything he did in Respawn's story canon, but they'll take it in a much different direction than how the dedicated team at Respawn would have taken it. I'm telling you right now, my fellow consumer, we best enjoy the little time we have left with Cal Kestis' storyline, character traits, and his journey, because once they run out of their unoriginal material and squeezed all the lore juice from the current Star Wars projects they're working on now, they'll move right on over to fuck Cal's character harder than a prisoner on death row with a last sex request. And if I was Cameron Monaghan right now, I'd be shaking in my poncho. I haven't brought up the dreaded Rey much, but in regards to her, I know there's a new project coming with her starring in it. I really hope they take after the DC treatment and give themselves a shameless second chance, because I might actually give it a second chance if they were to attempt to right the wrongs of the past like the Suicide Squad did. But hey, I'm sure we already know how the new Rey projects are going to turn out. I just hope that once that time comes and they've moved on to the Cal Kestis series and they proceed to fuck it up like we know they will, we can look back fondly on the original Cal Kestis series that was developed by Respawn and think to ourselves, this is storytelling. This is Star Wars. This is the way. Alright, well the video's over. So, until next time, I guess. Bye for now.